Okay, here we go. Focus. Viral. I am viral. One good film, 6 worse ones. I eat movies for breakfast. Breakfast? Wait, maybe I should have had breakfast. A little brekkie could be good for me. No. Stay focused. Viral. I'm hotter than hot. Better than good. I am a YouTuber. Hey, Gio, that's your cue. My brain is fried. In the last 4 days, I've watched a total of 7.5 car movies. Rest in peace to the second Fast and Furious, which didn't make it in the video. I planned to do this in light of the F1 movie, but in a major turn of events, I decided to get even more in theme and go through the car buying process. To say it was torture watching films being constantly reminded of something that I don't currently have would be a massive understatement. It took quite a few movies that were missing just a little something until I finally found the ultimate way to spend 2 hours of my time. This movie was actually able to bring me into the world of racing so much that I completely forgot about my own struggle. Okay, it also did much more impressive things than that. By looking at the films that I watched leading up to what I think is the best, I've taken aspects of what to do and what not to do in 6 track racing movies. Then illustrated how these aspects are all present in Oh fuck, I just said it. Before I mess up any more, gentlemen, start your engines. Let's get moving. Starting with a childhood favorite of mine, we have Cars, alongside a very strong opening, which many people like to rip off, plus a perfect ending with these famous credits. It's got a banger soundtrack. The Rascal Flatts version is better, and I will die on that hill. It's very accessible, as it is a kids' movie. Furthermore, this masterpiece from Pixar feels so full, purely because of the supporting cast. A hotshot racer can only feel likable because of the folks he comes across in Radiator Springs. With big name voices, some of which I've never noticed, like George Carlin as Fillmore? What?
The oil company's got a grip on the government. They're feeding us a bunch of lies, man. Okay.
The characters have personalities more vibrant than their distinct models. This takes a story that is already compelling to the next level. There is some bad, like Sally isn't that good of a character. She pisses me off not wanting Lightning to go race. Like, he can go race and come back, Sally. Why are you making this such a big deal? And maybe I'm thinking too hard, but McQueen isn't the best guy either. He has a good arc at least, but homie, why can't you cross the finish line and then push King? God damn. All jokes aside, the main character being likable is like top 3 most important things in a car movie. This is why I think Days of Thunder is lost on me. The car movie trope of a gifted racer with an attitude problem is running rampant in Days of Thunder. Cole pulls up on a motorcycle fresh out of the Top Gun program looking like a grade A prick. He gets on this team with an angry crew chief, and it sets up the goal of them having to win races to keep the team alive. Then eventually sets its sights on the Daytona 500. Cole and his crew chief Harry struggle back and forth the entire movie with the classic young buck versus old timer differences. Harry is a decent character. He's a little rough with the drinking, weird sexual assault stuff, and willingness to put Cole's life on the line right up until the last lap in the Daytona 500. Problem is, if you don't root for Harry, your options are a little slim. Cole's an ungrateful and poorly written schmuck who is also tough to cheer for. In order to cheer for Cole, you literally have to accept Harry's apology about sexual assault on Cole's behalf. Good luck with that in 2025. The whole movie is entertaining, but it just felt like such an unrealistic premise for a racing movie. I mean, Cole just shows up, drives a few laps, and a crew he just met builds him a car and gets him racing in NASCAR with no prior experience. Then after his first win, Uncle Eddie is calling for the Daytona 500.
We end up looking like a monkey fucking a football out there.
Sorry, wrong clip.
Whatever else we do from here, we win Daytona. That's a promise. That's a promise.
Let's slow our roll here, okay? This guy's not that good. I mean, he's not even aware. That also might just be a part of the pacing issues in this film. This has us progressing through Cole's NASCAR career at lightning speed. Maybe that would be fine if that story could still be told that way without it feeling like the characters are constantly flip-flopping. Because you have Harry, who only cares about Cole's well-being when the race matters the most, apparently. And even Cole's relationship with his crew chief is inconsistent. One day he hates him, the next day he trusts him with his life. Don't even get me started on Rowdy's two-sided convenience as a character. Homie lets Cole drive his car in the Daytona 500 for absolutely no reason. And these two were rivals. I know I'm really harping on this movie and a lot of people love it, so to give it a little credit, the music is so freaking good, especially at the end. Applause to Hans Zimmer. The story feels very accessible to non-car people because of Cole's lack of car knowledge. And what I found out in my research about some of the plot points made this whole movie way cooler. Moments that I thought felt over the top and almost too animated for a serious toned movie. A lot of the times were based on real life events in racing history. Homages to rivalries, certain phrases, and even specific actions like Cole hitting a guy's car on a victory lap are all taken from famous moments in the racing world. Now that is pretty special. Cole's race at the end gives us our first main character to win in this video, and although that will get stale, Harry taking this all in and the iconic freeze frame ending after a foot race did make me tear up a bit. The tears didn't fall like they did in Ford vs. Ferrari though. Ford v Ferrari, or for my further away friends, Le Mans 66, is a lesson on how to make emotional character moments feel bigger than just winning a race or not. First, compelling subplots carry the weight of the story more than the actual races, which are good too, don't get me wrong. The main plot in a racing movie 9 times out of 10 is winning the race. In this movie, it focuses so deeply on front office and car logistic issues that it puts the actual winning the race in the back seat. I'm sorry for all the car puns, guys. There will be more. Magnifying situations like the Ford company's inner politics make it much easier to build characters with productive dialogue. Plus, tell a side of the story that furthers the stakes. Betting the Shelby company on Ken Miles, too many RPMs overheating the gearbox, Ford's entire company being banked on F1. All these situations are crazy stakes alone, but also provide opportunity to go deeper than just who's in front of who. The whole time while these subplots are playing out, we get to be further immersed in the world and characters. The Ken and Shelby dynamic, Ken and Molly's love, which is great at points.
You want one too, Shelby?
No.
Oh, yes, please, Molly.
No. He can get his own.
Lee Iacocca's arc, Ford's humanization. Jesus, there's even more, man. The story of Ken's kid and what we see through his eyes. The fake-out de-villainization of Enzo Ferrari. Then on top of all of this, we still get our racing at the forefront. The focus on Ken Miles comes first, and the build-up to the biggest race in the world is rumbling. The most impressive feat, besides the cinematography and score, is how much technical knowledge is layered onto us in this story without ever feeling overwhelming. There is so much exposition to tell us about the car or the track before we actually get to use it. Normally, this isn't easy to make accessible for non-car people. Le Mans 66, however, does something very simple but very important with its car exposition. You have to set up a need for an explanation about something and use that as your exposition, rather than just explaining something flat out. Sorry if you're a little bit confused, I'll clear it up. Normally, this exposition tends to look like this. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's gonna be a problem for you out there with your brakes cut, but just keep your foot on the gas and you should be able to get the win tomorrow. Versus in Le Mans 66, it's more like, hey, I've been noticing that this car is just not coming to a complete stop. That's why I kind of ran into this wall when I got in here. You think you can take a look at it and make sure I'm good for the race tomorrow? Yeah, I don't know, man. It could be a problem out there for you tomorrow with your brakes cut, but just keep your foot on the gas and you should be alright. See how that feels so much more natural? It's not just giving it to you on a platter, it's actually giving reason for why it's there. At the very end of this movie, no doubt because of history, the movie finalizes its choice to prioritize what would normally be the subplot. Ferrari is out. Ken Miles is about to win Le Mans when he's asked by Ford to slow down so all 3 Ford cars can cross the finish line at the same time. He's given an out from Shelby, but against anything his character type has showed us this whole time, he relaxes for a second to take everything in and takes his foot off the gas. Absolute gut punch moment to the viewer who's been wanting to see Ken win this whole time. Ken instead submits to the Ford Motor Company, and you think the film is over without scratching your racing itch. But then it continues. The main character is already lost. Our good guys have already been revealed as bad guys. And Shelby's character has already been ruined with inconsistency. You'd think that'd be far enough along to end the movie there. Instead, the movie shifts to the kid's perspective, watching his dad, Ken Miles, test drive a car. Through the kid's eyes, we shortly see Ken Miles' car go up in flames. With a quick time jump, you can tell how hard Shelby's taking it, and there's really no getting a happy ending here. They tried to do it by giving a wrench to Ken's kid, who eventually works on cars, but the end is frankly depressing. Maybe that's why I watched Turbo next. Man, I don't got much on Turbo. It's just Ratatouille meets Cars. Literally the same premise of anthropomorphic animals who see a hero on TV and then follow in that guy's footsteps. In Turbo, however, there's a huge twist with the hero figure, which is he's mean. Never meet your heroes, kids. Actually, kids, don't watch this movie. Nitrous oxide being the reason for Turbo's speed isn't the greatest lesson for you. Yeah, Turbo, maybe let's not insinuate that a whippet will give you superpowers. This film is just all over the place. There's a whole taco shop storyline, Andrew from Big Mouth-esque tomato visions, snail ziplining, oh, and fucking Snoop Dogg.
I to the N to the dizzy to the wizard. You dig? Yes, sir.
These aspects don't mesh well at all with the semi-serious brother themes or any of the big moments. The only good we get from this film is the accessibility and what Turbo did different than all that we've talked about so far. We saw the main character before he was a great racer. That right there is why I think I like Gran Turismo so much. An origin story in a racing movie already works out so well, but even more so when it feels this attainable. The concept of sim racing being the vehicle that gets Jan on stage at Le Mans is a grounded and realistic goal, at least compared to some insanely talented and attractive racer appearing out of thin air. In Gran Turismo, we see where Jan came from and how many doubted him before he was even on the track. There's a clear progression of skill and prestige as the movie treads forward, using many montages to explain advancements. The story structure is simple enough, and the bar keeps getting raised till Le Mans at the end. The races themselves could have felt a bit bigger. They might have needed more hype up or just some deeper exposition. Instead, this movie liked to avoid talking about the car stuff. It was much more attuned to showing it in a very one-of-a-kind and hit-or-miss way. CGI is put all over the place and is very bad at times. Other times, it just adds extra layers of immersion to the scene. The best moments, without a doubt, are the full-blown transitions from room to track, or vice versa. You can tell this was made recently. Honestly, wasn't too into this project for the majority of the movie, especially when the soundtrack started sounding like the FIFA home screen. But then, by the end, I felt a pretty surprising emotional impact. The performance from David Harbour helps this a lot, but it's mostly the family moments, like Jan's combo with his dad, that carry. By the end, I couldn't ignore my feelings about how excited I was that Jan had podiumed. I also couldn't ignore something that I had noticed heavily in all the movies so far: the product placement. A true car movie staple. Obviously, you have the car brands in this one, but also PlayStation, Razor, Michelin, Fanatic, and many more. You can imagine, since you saw Cole win the Daytona in a yellow mellow car, just how deep the product placement goes. The only way to make that not feel cheap and in your face is to do what Talladega Nights did. A comedy works so well for a car movie because you can take the common tropes like the product placement and play them for laughs. Talladega Nights is doing this constantly.
If you don't chew Big Red, then you.
This film is a masterclass in the comedy department, which is not surprising considering the leads, but it also pisses excellence, never taking itself too seriously until the very end. The Legend of Ricky Bobby effortlessly balances comedy with track racing, and it just works so well. You don't have to explain anything about racing because it's just really not the focus. Racing just serves as the easy marker for a win/loss plot point. Then you can focus the rest on your script and showing off the improv with your star power. The racing needs are met in a very funny way by flipping more car tropes on their heads. Things like a personal rivalry or corporate dynamics never take themselves too seriously and act only to create laughs. Entertainment with comedy works so well for this movie. It's a shame you can't do the same for a kid's comedy. Herbie is a less than engagingly set up, weak slapstick comedy that has nothing going for it outside of Michael Keaton looking and sounding like this.
We got qualifying race in a couple of days, just working on some minor problems.
I had more notes, but I hated to watch, and I want you to know what my favorite car movie is anyways, so let's get to it. This movie takes every aspect that I've discussed throughout each car movie and perfects it. This movie takes every possible chance and dives into layers of reality unlike any car film. This movie pushes the limits of storytelling in a way so one of a kind that even a Hans Zimmer score is overshadowed by the pure weight of the narrative. This is Ron Howard's Rush. That's right, man. This one is better than anything. The structure already has me geeking. It sticks a great opening, just like Cars. Starting at a race, then having a flashback to show how the two men got there is a great way to set up. The two main characters, Niki Lauda and James Hunt, are presented to us as rivals from the beginning. The two have very distinct personality types, with Hunt being your cocky guy and Niki being your reserved fella, painting a complex duality. Each racer becomes nastier with success, and you find yourself cheering for the underdog, which, depending on what time you're watching, is both. This gives us both sides of the coin when it comes to the Cole-esque character versus the Jean-esque one. You get to explore two different types of racers evenly, and this pays off in the realism department. You now have the whole spectrum of how people react to situations on and off the track. You can have your more technical characters who give us the exposition like Ken in Ford vs. Ferrari, or you can have your not knowledgeable partying figure who gets played for some comedy. This is just like the man himself, Ricky Bobby. The realism is taken further with the R rating because we actually see the bad injuries. We are there with them on the track, witnessing the blood, fire, whatever else comes into frame. Much better than the video game overlay, if you ask me. The track itself gets more focused because of the willingness to go in depth on how hard certain turns are, or not wanting to race in the rain. They use this rain thing specifically as an explanation to a setup of a good group of racers not wanting to race. This makes us feel for Niki's injury during that race even furthermore. Speaking of the injury, this takes me into all the great subplots. There are no taco shops here. It's recovery stories, love accounts, redemption arcs, unexpected friendship narratives. This movie has it all. It's got comedy. It's got so many good car tropes. Injury recovery, underdog winner, mentor dynamics, of course, product placement, just to name a few. I don't know where I'm at now, but it's got gorgeous chyrons, compelling side characters. I can't take it. This is all topped off with a truly satisfying ending from literally every angle. A fast pace shifts gears and slows down completely for a final race at the base of Mount Fiji. Zemo and Thor get ready to compete to be champion. After feuding for a long time, Niki and James unexpectedly give each other a sign of respect before the race. Then, after a beautifully shot and scored few laps, Niki decides to throw in the towel. This explores an aspect to injury that we haven't seen before, and effectively gives James a shot at the championship as long as he can place high enough. This gives us the unsatisfying yet realistic ending that we got in Ford v Ferrari, while at the same time giving us the winning feeling we felt in things like Gran Turismo. All this perfection, topped with some flawless real footage incorporation, makes Rush an accessible, satisfyingly moving, thorough examination of the aspects of racing that are the most interesting and real: the risk, the loss, and the thrill. Well, guys, we're about through Car Week here on Geo Watches Television. With all these racing films under my belt, my expectations are set pretty high for the new F1 movie coming out. At the very least, I hope it can hit on many of my racing movie needs. Although I know it won't be as good as Rush, hopefully it's at least better than Herbie. Sure, after watching Cars, Le Mans 66, Talladega Nights, Turbo, Rush, Herbie, and Days of Thunder, I think, I'm left sitting here needing a break. But overall, I now know that I enjoy car movies much more than I thought, and I know a little more about track racing logistics and history. If you get the chance to watch a racing movie and are saying to yourself, I don't know if I'd like it, I implore you to hop on and give one a spin. You never know. You might find yourself enjoying the ride. God, car puns are terrible. And with that, thank you, Dale. Specifically you, Dale. And of course, to everyone else who watched this one, thank you. What a time it was making this video. I mean, I got to go in depth on so many movies and just absolutely take 4 days or however long it was to just get so in on this, and I am overwhelmed, but oh my goodness, it was so satisfying to put together this project. Yeah, car movies really are something special. I truly think that no matter what, in general, they are super accessible. It's just a very simple premise at the base level, which is, you know, whichever person is out in front is winning, and building a story around that premise is fairly simple in my opinion, and I think a lot of people can enjoy it. And if you want to enjoy F1 movie without actually going to see it, or if you want to see it and get a little more info, please check out the Fresh Out the Film podcast. It's me and my sister. We get out of the theater and we go right into the car and turn the mics on, kind of riding the wave from that energy in the theater. And yeah, we'll be doing an episode on F1, so feel free to check that one out. But yeah, I think that's about it. So, deuces.
Driving in your car, speed so fast I felt like I was drunk. City lights stay out before us, and your arm felt nice wrapped around my shoulder, and I